My name's Martina, if you don't know already, and I am a Mystic Self-Love Guide. And this morning I am here to talk to you about respecting your fullness with mindful eating. So, part of my own self-love journey has been discovering mindful eating. I have been a yo-yo dieter for most of my life, and I have come to make peace with food and heal my relationship with food with mindful eating. So, before we get started, if you guys are watching this on Facebook this morning, if you could head on over to my YouTube channel when this video is done, click on or type in my first and last name, and then hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications for every time that I come live. So let's get into it, you guys. If you are watching this live right now, please say hello so I can say hi back to you. And if you're watching later, just hashtag replay so I can come back then and say hi to you after. So I'm just gonna pop on here, make sure I can see you guys and say hi if anyone's popping in. All right. So mindful eating or intuitive eating, whichever way you want to call it, is a it is a way to heal your relationship with food, making peace with food, and ditching the diet mentality, like I've kind of described already. So, what I'm going to be doing today is just going through kind of what it means to respect your fullness, and just some little tips on how you can start to implement that, just kind of surface level. This stuff is all goes very like in depth, and it's really a journey just like any other kind of healing journey. It's not just listen to my words and you will heal yourself. It's going to take time and dedication and effort, but however, this is just going to give you a little bit of tips and insight and maybe inspire you to maybe learn more about it. I would be happy to help anyone learn more about it. So let's get into it. So the first kind of way we can respect our fullness is to give ourselves unconditional permission to eat, which just means eating when you're hungry. Society and diet mentality has taught us that we can only eat at certain times of the day, or we can only eat we can't eat outside of that window that we've been placed in, right? And so the first tip for that is just eating when you're hungry. And how you know that is there's a whole process of listening to your body. And really that's the mindfulness part of all of this, is it's really allowing you to be in tune with yourself and your body, which leads into another part of it, which is honoring your hunger. So I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but if you go, like I always say, I can never go grocery shopping when I'm hungry because my brain isn't really thinking in the proper way of like, I need food for the week. Like, I need to plan my meals out. So if I go shopping hungry, I end up buying a lot of, like, my old habits would like be, I'm starving, I just want all the food, and then I end up buying maybe choices that I wasn't so happy with, of like, now I have nothing to eat for the whole week, like, because I just bought chips and chocolate bars. So when we are in that starved state, our body our body is kind of dramatic. It's smart, but it's dramatic. And when we are hungry, our body is always like, feed me, eat everything while you can, because I don't know when you're going to feed me again. And so just really starting to tune into your body on how hungry you are, and what you want to eat, like, and really think about those things. Oh, I see Jenna there. Hi, Jenna and Joy. Good morning, ladies. Um, so really honoring your hunger and just really tuning into yourself and your inner knowing of like, how hungry am I and what do I want to eat, which leads us into our third tip, which is conscious eating. So I don't know if you guys have ever had those moments where you've kind of hit the like screw it button of like, I'm just gonna eat whatever I want and I don't care, and then you end up probably usually feeling really crappy afterwards. So, once again, being super aware of how you're feeling and why you're eating what you are, and really just going back to, I don't know if you guys have heard of this before, but like having a hunger scale. So, a hunger and fullness scale is a scale that intuitive eating and mindful eating kind of applies to your eating, is gauging where you're at in the hunger scale. Uh, when you like, okay, let's say you're pressing the screw up button and you're eating like over excessively. What were you feeling when that happened? Were you feeling kind of crappy? Like, did you have a bad day? Or were you having fun with your friends and you're just like, I haven't had pizza forever. I'm going to eat all the pizza. And you end up feeling like painfully full is what usually happens, right? So just starting to really tune in to why you're eating and where you're at on that hunger scale, and really just always having that in the back of your mind of, do I want that? Because if you do, that's fine, and that's the beauty of all of this kind of mindful eating, intuitive eating work, is that you give yourself that unconditional permission to have the food, but just really looking at yourself and thinking about why you want it, if you want it, how hungry you actually are. And then, really, an important part of mindful eating and intuitive eating and respecting your fullness is to stay mindful. So when you're eating, when I first started doing this, it kind of felt silly. Some of it felt silly, but really, and we try and do that in our house as much as we can too. There's nights where we won't, but really having that time to disconnect while you're eating. So like putting your phones away, turning the TV off, really being mindful in your eating. So really paying attention to the food and the people around you and what your food tastes like, which is like engaging with your senses while you eat. So smelling what it smells like, what it tastes like, what the texture is, how you feel when you eat it, like just connecting to all these things, which is just bringing a mindful presence to your eating, right? And then you're going to be able to better judge what we'll go into next, which is kind of like the whole gauging when you're full and stopping when you're full. So when you're eating too, it's actually it's kind of interesting when you pause in the middle of your food and be like, and just give yourself a chance to catch up with your fullness or hunger, and be like, okay, I've eaten half my meal. How am I feeling? Am I full yet? Do I want to keep eating? That kind of thing. And I know it's interesting when you go out to eat, and this is something that I still struggle with myself, is when you go out to eat and you usually eat whatever is given to you, or at least I do. And then I end up feeling really full after, and I kind of have regrets about, oh, you know what? I was probably full halfway through that meal. I should have stopped and taken it home and ate it when I was hungry again, right? So really just pausing in the middle allows you to kind of assess where you're at and your hunger and your fullness. And then once again, checking in at the end of like, hey, did I overdo it? Do I feel kind of crappy now? Should I have stopped sooner? Just really being aware, like connecting to your senses and your awareness and your mindfulness when it comes to your food. And just really being in tune with your body sensations. So really knowing what that feels like when you're full, what your fullness feels like. And there's like a whole bunch of different tools that intuitive eating and mindful eating gives you to kind of help you to figure that out. Like, is your belly super bloated and full and kind of feels painful if when you're full, like when you're over full, or what does it feel like when you're just full, like I've had enough food? So really gauging your body and knowing what that feels like. And some people are really good at intuitively doing that. But if you are not, then it's a good practice to start just thinking about, right? Because I know my biggest thing is when I go out to eat, I will overeat, usually because I eat whatever is given to me because I don't want to take it and I don't want to waste it. But there's that whole healing that piece of your eating of like, it's okay to just eat half of it and save it for later, or if it doesn't get eaten, that's okay too, right? Like, and then just really start to think about, my last kind of tip for you guys is to think about always knowing that you'll be able to eat again. Because our bodies, when we're in that kind of like starving mode or super hungry mode, like we're like kind of like uncomfortably hungry, our bodies do kick into that mode of like, you got to feed me as much as you can because we don't know when you're going to feed us again. And that's when that whole binging mentality comes in. So really just when you catch yourself in those starving moments, just knowing that, to tell your body and to tell yourself to know that you will be able to eat again. And, we're just going to eat this much and keep ourselves full, and then we can always eat again. we should be super grateful that we live in a country and that we're able to eat whenever we're hungry. So that's a whole nother thing. But I do the same thing too when I go out to eat. Jenna says, "Yeah, it's I don't know, got to break that cycle." Because really, you leave feeling uncomfortable, right? Like it's not that it has nothing to do with like I shouldn't eat it because it's gonna make me fat. It's I shouldn't eat it because I don't feel good when I do, right? It's all about the feelings and the connecting to the emotions and the senses and all that stuff. Um, and just being mindful, right? Just being intuitive and mindful with your food. Um, so I hope those couple tips helped you guys just starting to really think about your eating and respecting your fullness and your hunger and all that stuff. And yeah, so I hope this helped a little. It's kind of all over the place because there's so much to mindful eating, intuitive eating. So to kind of give you guys a little bit of insight, it's kind of tricky to not overshare or not feel like I'm all over the place a little bit. But I do have, if you are kind of interested in mindful eating and it's something that you want to learn more about and apply to your life and have practices to do so, I do have a 28-day yoga and mindful eating program that helps you to discover movement you love in 10 minutes a day, ditching the diet mentality, making peace with food. And so in that 28 days, you're given daily yoga practices and meditations along with 4 mindful eating workbooks that take you through really the steps you need to start to incorporate mindful eating into your life and just assessing where you're at in your journey of your relationship with food and just help you to do that. So the link to that program is in the comments. I have a couple more spots left in that program at the discounted price. So if you want to join us in there, the link is in the description. So there's that. And then if you guys are not already in this community, I have a community called Imperfectly Perfect You. We are a community of women empowering each other to love our imperfectly perfect selves, just as we are in this moment, through lots of different holistic and mystic approaches. So we would love to welcome you into that space and have you in there with us. There's lots of challenges and just a safe place for you to share and connect with other people who are on their self-love journeys. So there's that. So yeah, that's all I had for you guys this morning. So I hope you guys have the best day and we will see you tomorrow.